Hi, I'm Kacey.
And I'm Gianni.
I never finished reading the Animorphs books as a kid, and I still haven't as an adult.
And I've never read them.
We can't tell you where we live.
But we can tell you that we want to revisit these books as adults and dive into what we would keep or change if we were to put it on TV.
Two friends, 50-something books. Welcome to morphinbuddies.
And then the music kicks in, and then people are just so ready.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Morphin Buddies. Me, your host, Kacey Cisnowski, and Mr. Gianni DeMaia.
It's me.
He's here. You did it.
You made it.
Ew, that's so creepy. You made it. Thanks for joining us today.
It's like you're coming into the afterlife, and it's just a bunch of people talking about the Animorphs books.
Yeah.
It's great.
So where we left off, we'll just do a quick little recap. This is part 2 of getting into the Andalite Chronicles, the 3 books that were mushed into one decently sized book. We kind of got...
And anything I thought I remembered, I already forgot. It's going great.
I was going to say, you kind of got lost in the sauce. We both kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit near the end of that.
Yeah, there was like a whole part where I was like, I don't remember how we got out of this.
There's some where he gets on a train, and then there's an attack, and he almost gets torn apart, and then I went back to the book, and I kind of flipped through a little bit to figure out what happened. So yeah, he gets on a train, he is met by Subvisor 7 and a bunch of Taxons, and they attack him, and he morphs back to Andalite, and then he morphs the Khajiit bird. So he's small, so they're all crawling over each other. That's how he got away.
Right. I do remember this. Yeah.
So
big brain. I know that's what they all come to this show for. They're like, we just love how specific you guys
the
get
historical
with the details
accuracy.
From page to page. You guys remember every single thing.
Every little
it's
note.
Astounding.
Nobody's screaming at us silently across the podcast.
Not one person criticized our ability.
The low-hanging
to
fruit,
details.
where is it? We don't see it. Nowhere.
Never seen it before. Well, it's definitely not in this book because the low-hanging fruit is Jake.
Exactly. So that's kind of where we left off. He morphed into the little Khajiit bird, and then he flew out of the mass of Taxons and Hork-Bajir that were all attacking each other, trying to get to him. So then Elf finds Elfangor, for those who are not in the know.
Yeah, sorry, we're like really on close terms.
we're really cool with each other, me and Elf. Only me and Gianni can call him that, nobody else.
Yeah, sorry, he gave us
explicit permission.
Us the pass.
So Elf, anyway, he goes, he's still on the Taxon planet. He finds the Living Hive. He finds Arbron, who has joined the Living Hive, which is a rebellion resistance with Taxons who are not infested with Yeerks, which is like crazy because all of them are supposed Yeerk brainers.
Yeah, we thought for sure that they were all going to be that, but they weren't.
No,
so
and some of them want to
really
fight
special.
back. So
Yes.
now Arbron is saying, we're going to lead a big battle, us Taxons against the Yeerk Taxons, and it's going to be a huge battle. You might not be able to tell me from the other Taxons, but just kill everybody. He's like, it doesn't matter if we're rebels or not. You have to kill as many Taxons as you can. We're going to be separated. And Elf is like, no. And he's like, yes. He
he asked him to help him basically like euthanize himself twice.
Yeah. He's like, please kill me.
It's already another moment. Where he's begging to die. And honestly, never related to a character more in this series.
I don't want to live forever.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to live.
Yeah, he was singing that.
He was. He was. So then Elfangor is like, brother, all right, I respect you, my warrior friend. And Arbron's like, look, you got to go find the humans after this big battle or during this big battle. You got to find the humans. You got to find Aloran. You got to tell them what happened. Also, tell my family I died in battle. Don't tell them I'm a Taxon. I don't want them to hear it.
Yeah, I don't want them to remember me that way.
Exactly. I want them to believe I'm dead, and I am dead. And Elf is like, okay, buddy. And they fist bump, and then they go their separate ways. Then
I don't recall the fist bump, but it could have been there.
It's probably in there. Listen. Like I said, me and Elf are on close terms. He fist bumped.
Yeah, no, he said there was some details that were left out by the editor that they cut out.
That's right.
There's a director's cut.
This is the director's cut.
Elf's, yeah, he was telling it. Oh, sorry, you guys didn't read that one? So
sorry.
There's a fist bump in it.
There is, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then Elf gets into the Mustang again, somehow, and he drives this car into one of the underground tunnels, which like sloops him out to where the battle is going to happen.
Right.
And then he sees all the rebel Taxons coming in, and they all start fighting, and Elfangor is like, I gotta find the humans, and I gotta find the ship, and I gotta find Aloran. And so he starts going off on his own, trying to get through the battle. Correct? Is this right?
Yeah. At a certain point, because this gets so chaotic and crazy that that like, again, the details get spotted. I remember the most significant moment though of this is that at a certain point, his buddy Arbron starts being succumbing basically to the hunger of the being a Taxon and starts going after our good guys, so to speak, in this particular moment. Elf. Sorry,
that's all right.
You definitely remember this better than I do.
I'm looking at my notes. I wrote a bunch of notes, but they're also very vague because it was a lot of notes that I was taking, and I was like, God, I just want this to be shorter. So some of my notes are vague, which is why I got a little lost. But Elfangor sees the ship. He gets to the ship. He sees Arbron. This is where Arbron's heading for the humans, trying to eat them. And then, boom, Subvisor 7 shows up. And he's like, yo, I'm back. What's up? And remember, this is who Visser 3 is going to become. So we know he survives, but we also know that he's a baddie. And he's only out for himself. And then Aloran pops in, and he's like, hey, I'm in Hork-Bajir Morph. What's up? I'm Aloran. Let's get out of here. And they grab the...
So they actually, they have him basically dead to rights. They have Subvisor 7 or whatever. And
they grab the humans. Everybody's on the ship.
Yeah, and so it's interesting in reading this portion of it because Elfangor has a lot of... he has some retrospect moments that he recognizes something was odd but didn't quite couldn't quite piece together.
He's like, if only I knew.
He remembers distinctly looking at Chapman, and Chapman kind of shaking his head at an awkward angle, and then it quickly moves on. But Aloran essentially is threatening to basically open the blast doors again and suck
everybody else out. Get sucked.
But of course we know how this goes down.
Yeah, we do.
Because somehow, some way, the Yerk in Subvisor 2's head.
Subvisor 7, Gianni.
Subvisor 7.
Wow.
I don't know what.
Have some respect.
No, you know what? You know what just happened? I just looked at 32, and I just took the 2, and I was like, I don't even know where I'm at now.
That's all right.
But yeah, the Yerk slips out, and is able to get into Aloran's head.
Yeah, he goes from Subvisor 7, and then they kick him out of the ship, and they don't realize the Yerk has transferred himself into Chapman's head, right?
The impression I got, because it was because again, he's only noticing like little moments that he knew were odd. So
Yeah.
I think that he was in Chapman's head
And then transferred to Alaran.
Transfer into Alaran.
Because Alaran got knocked out.
Right.
So Alaran's on the floor, and Chapman kind of, after they open the door and kick out who they think is Subvisor 7, the Hork-Bajir.
Right, which is really just a regular old Hork-Bajir.
Sorry, dude, that sucks for him. Sorry, buddy.
Right.
So then Chapman leans over, and it seems like he's checking on Alaran, when really we find out later he is putting his ear close to Alaran's head, thereby transferring the Yeerk to Alaran, and then the abomination Alaran becomes, which is really a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough break.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's not immediately revealed. Like Alaran starts saying like some sort of odd things that then all sort of click in Elfangor's head, and then of course, then all hell is broken loose because as they're sort of flying away, Subvisor 7 is like, yeah, I've already called in the cavalry. They know I'm an Andalite.
Bug fighters
now.
are coming in.
I'm going to get a huge promotion. You're surrounded on all sides. There's no way you can get out of this one. And
he gets like his own ship, right? Like an escape pod or something? Because he separates from Elfangor. Because Elfangor has to pretend to be Subvisor 7 for a second to get away.
Right.
So I think Alaran gets his own little ship and separates from Elfangor and Chapman and Loren, who are still on the ship here. And I think...
Is this where they also tie up Chapman, if I recall?
Yes.
Because they end up gagging
Oh, yeah,
him as
and
well.
So Loren has a Yeerk in her head also at this point, because they ambush Elfangor before letting Alaran escape. And then when Alaran gets out, Elfangor fights them, and he ties up both Chapman and Loren. And then he, like, makes a deal with the Yeerk in Loren's head of, like, well, you can starve and sit here for 3 days and die a horrible death, or I can shove you out into deep space and you can go into a cryogenic state where somebody may pick you up. And so the Yeerk's like, all right, put me in space. I don't want to starve.
Fair deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, if I recall correctly, too, Elfangor kind of walks away from the whole situation being like, he probably won't be found. It's he's probably dead. Like,
he's just out in space. He's just a quick death rather than a slow death. So he gets away from all the bug fighters. He goes into zero space, makes this deal with Loren's Yeerk, tosses the Yeerk out into space, and then he plans to travel through zero space to get back to the Andalite home ship. So he has a bunch of firepower, because now all the Yeerk ships have got like a tag on the ship that he's traveling in now, so they can track where he is. So wherever he exits out of zero space, they can all be there immediately because they know exactly where he is. So he's like, let's go back to the home ship. That way we have a lot of firepower. We have a chance to destroy all these Yeerks. Great. Ties up Chapman. He has a nice little talk with Loren again. They're a little bonding, making cute eyes at each other. Kissy face.
They are obsessed with each other.
And Gianni's like, yes, kiss.
Yeah, more.
And then he talks with Loren about the Elemist and using the time matrix. They kind of briefly touch on this.
Yeah, which felt like an afterthought to kind of be like, we should probably foreshadow this Elemist thing coming back in.
Remember the Elemist?
And they kind of loosely flirt with the idea of like, well, we could just use it to turn back all that just went wrong. And get rid of the abomination.
But then we would never meet.
Right, and they don't want to give up the chance to meet each other.
Yeah. They actually plan a date if they survive this. So
yeah, and here's the thing, like, I'm all for a girl who is probably too young to be to be flirting with this alien.
Yeah.
I'm all for them getting together forever, but not at the expense of literally
like a 14-year-old
everything
child
going wrong. Yeah, literally everything goes to absolute shit.
Yeah.
And I think that probably they could have made a better choice here. But they don't, because true love wins and prevails overall, including, giving a Yerk the ability to morph into whatever the hell it wants and giving it access to a body that's obsessed with basically eradicating all of your kind at the expense of everyone else in the galaxy. It's probably not the best.
But love though. Listen, I'm pro age gap relationship if the two people are of adult age and consenting adults, and there's no
Just a wild first start to that
listen.
A wild first start to that sentence.
Listen, as long as there's no power dynamic, as long as
Right.
there is no controlling type of behaviors, as long as they are both adults, past their 20s, I don't
Right.
mind an age gap relationship. It becomes a problem if one of the people is a minor.
Is an alien?
And
Oh, right.
well, I think the minor thing is more important.
No, you're right.
Gianni.
The minor thing is worse. You're right. I forgot about the minor thing. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, the other problem is if the other person is an alien. Listen, like we said in the last episode, how long would it take for a human to want to bang an alien species immediately?
Oh, yeah, it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see one, you go, whoa, you look like a centaur. Let me get on that immediately.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I mean, can you blame her?
Yeah, honestly, for how ripped he is.
Yeah, it's just so handsome.
He's very handsome, but yeah, so not a great situation, but we'll kind of skate over that now. There's
zip past that.
Yeah, they get out of zero space and they get eaten by an asteroid. Their ship gets eaten by an asteroid, which is crazy. There's this weird little Pac-Man asteroid flying around that's attracted to energy.
Yeah.
So once they get out of zero space, they're like, oh no, this asteroid's eating other rocks. Let's shoot it. Oh no, it's coming toward us. And then Sub Visser appears in a blade ship. Apparently now he's Visser 32, which...
Yeah, he almost immediately is like, hey guys, hey fuckers, I got a promotion.
Hey fuckers, what's up?
It just pops right in. It's it's basically the first thing out of his mouth too. He's so happy.
I love him opening a conversation with, hey fuckers.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. I mean, we read the director's cut, of course, and it's hey fuckers in the director's cut. They changed it.
So, as Visser 32 now is trying to make video connection with them, being like, you're doomed, I have you.
Right.
Elfangor's like, Loren, I have a plan. Pretend that you still have a yerk in your head and hold this gun up behind me and pretend to shoot me, and I will cut the video link when you shoot me. So Visser 32 now thinks that you are still on his side, and he can just come and get us. And she's like, great plan, I like it. Let's do it. So that's what happens. Executed perfectly.
17. Rolled a natural 17, natural 18 on that performance check.
That's pretty good. That's a D&D reference for those who don't understand.
Yeah, guys, I know you just read Animorphs here, but we like to do some real shit where we roll dice.
If you'd like to be more polished in your skills.
Yeah, expand your nerddom.
What are we talking about? The people that listen to this absolutely know what we're talking about.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they were like, we got it. We got it immediately. Yeah.
We love our little morphin buddies. Then Chapman gets up. He tries to fight him. He's like, haha, I got out of my ties. What's up, fuckers?
Which is give it a rest, dude. Just give it a rest.
Yeah, he's just he just wants to fight. He's so boring. He's like that friend that won't shut the fuck up about their new iPhone and how cool it is and how different it is from all the other iPhones. He's like that. Everyone's like, dude, we get it. We're done. We get it. You love it. Shut up.
First of all, this sounds like an experience that's very specific to you.
I am an Android user. So
you really
fuck
were
you.
You were like, oh, what can I compare it to? Oh, I know this fucking guy.
They're insufferable.
Yeah. I'm an iPhone user, so
No, I'm sorry. Your
how
software
can you stand a green
blows.
bubble? You know, how can you? Stand a green bubble?
Both. I've had both iPhone and Android. I've had them both at the same time when I had to have a work phone and a regular phone.
That's crazy.
The iPhone drove me up the wall more often than not. Look, I know it's a stupid debate. Everybody should just pick whatever the fuck they want. I just don't like the software of iPhones, and I think they're garbage phones. Anyway.
Tell me how you really feel.
Rah! Anyway.
By the way, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, yeah, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts. And really any podcast platform. Oh, no. They're going to delete us. Steve Jobs heard us from beyond the grave. He's going to delete us with his fruit diet that's going to cure everything. Anyway. Yeah,
except for
R.I.P.
his
I
cancer.
shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Yeah, exactly.
That's too bleak a joke. You got to cut that one out. That's mean.
No, you're totally right, though. That's what happened. He had a curable cancer, and he said, I'll eat fruit, thanks. Then he died.
Oh,
could have saved himself. Anyway, sorry, there's a lot of aggression coming out of this.
Yeah, well, we're just pent up rage.
I'm ready. Okay, so the Visser decides to come aboard the ship and that Elfangor and the humans are on, and they fight. They're like, surprise attack, got you. You got, sir. And they blow a hole in the ship. Cool. Love to see that. They're running out of oxygen.
Yeah.
An asteroid comes over and starts munching on the ship. Cool.
So like this is one of those where it's like, because look, I don't know much about many things, but I know that if you punch a hole in anything that's in space, that's insta death. That's not like that's not gradually losing oxygen. But you know what? Some of the best things do this too. Like Aliens does this, so like it's fine. Who cares, right? Like at the end of the day, but just worth noting that if you're the type of sci-fi person that really likes the science in front of your fiction, then this is probably going to grind your gears. So just
just a little bit
warning.
Especially since they used the example before of like tossing the Yerk out into space and it's immediately frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't have it both ways, you know?
No. You can't just gradually pass out and then freeze somebody else immediately.
Yeah, just not quite how that works. Not quite how that works.
Actually.
Man.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Did you have any more thoughts on that?
Oh, no, it's all going awful.
Yeah. They all black out.
The gist.
Everybody's blacking out on the ship.
Yeah.
Elfangor is like, Loren's definitely blacking out. Her lips are blue, so
Right.
she's
fine.
dying. She's fine. He feels himself blacking out. And that's the end of the second book. Big cliffhanger. But now we're on to the third book, the finale in the series.
Yeah, this is where the book maybe goes off the rails, but you know what? It's okay. Because we're here to talk you through it at the same time as we're also talking each other through it.
That's right. We got
which is to say that even if I remembered every single minute detail of this third act, I still would be lost because it is
it's a lot.
It gets fucking convoluted.
Yes.
But we'll cross those bridges when we come to them.
I mean, first bridge, we're already there. First thing, they're flying towards a black hole. So
yeah, they just kind of like come to, and it's like, oh, there's a black hole right
Hey, what's up? Cool, we have a black hole. Elfangor turns on the emergency air before everyone suffocates and dies.
Point of order as well, just something
Yeah.
interesting. I remember Loren is like, oh my god, it's a black hole. And Elfangor, like, thinks to himself, he's like, huh, I didn't know humans knew that. Yes, it is.
You guys aren't as big and dumb as I thought you were.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I found that very fun and funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
that's just a fun thing.
there was also, in the first book, I don't think we mentioned this in the last episode, but in the first book, when he first meets Loren and Chapman, Loren starts to take off her shoes, and he flips his shit because he's like, your hooves! Don't. Why are you taking off your hooves?
I forgot about
And
this.
Yeah, and she's like,
Yeah.
they're my shoes? And then she takes off her sock, and he's like, ah! He's like, freaks out. And she's like, no, I have feet. Like, these are my feet. Hello.
Yeah.
And Elfangor's
Yeah,
like,
so who's the big
interesting.
dum-dum now, you know?
Yeah, take that, Elf.
That's humans too. Elf 0 for the record.
That's right. So he turns on the emergency air. Everyone's okay, I guess. And they see the time
the
matrix.
emergency air. I
Yeah.
love that.
With a big hole in the side of the ship.
Yeah, we have it. It's like a generator, but for
Not
air.
freezing cold at all in space.
Don't worry, guys.
So
We'll just flip this bad boy on.
then they're like, oh, there's the time matrix on the outside of the ship just hanging out.
Yeah.
I don't know how the asteroid didn't eat it. Or it did eat it and they're inside him.
Potato, tomato, you know. So they go,
I am confusion.
So for whatever reason, Elfangor and Visser 32 have to come to some sort of arrangement in which they decide that one of them needs to like hold the rope,
Yeah.
and the other needs to get the time matrix.
Yeah.
And they
While
both
being
have to
attached
trust
to
each
the
other.
rope. Mm-hmm.
They have to trust each other because if they don't use this time matrix, they're going into a black hole. They're going to die. Mm-hmm. So, Visser 32 holds the rope. Obviously, bad guy's not going to risk it.
Well, he was like, they were like arguing at first who was gonna do it right, and he's like,
Yeah, it
well,
was like,
I'm
just
not,
kiss
I don't
already, right?
trust you to take it and then not use it. And he's like, well, I don't trust you. And they're like, well, okay, look, we have to work together to get this. So like, can we just do? I'll go out, I'll get the time matrix, and you can hang out here. Just pull me back in so we all won't die.
Yeah, like, and also, should we kiss? But they don't, that's the director's
Visser
cut.
32
They don't
is
do
like,
that in the regular one.
yes to everything, maybe to the last point.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe
see.
to the kiss.
We'll see. Depends on how good you do.
As a treat.
You can't have dessert before dinner.
Yeah.
So, okay, Elfangor goes out. He gets the time matrix. Cool. He gets pulled back in by Visser 32. They both grip the time matrix, and then they trip balls like crazy. They're seeing the layers of the universe expand and all these timelines of what could have been and what would be, and they're trying to direct it to a place. And then Loren comes in and she puts her hand on it, and then she fucks it up also, right?
Yeah, I went to a silent disco the other night, and it was exactly like this for the record. But yes, I went to I was euphoric, and I saw all timelines converge all at once.
I love that. I love that.
So they end up going to this like alternate universe, some sort of
a mishmash.
fragmented universe.
Yeah,
they're trying to figure out like exactly what's happening, but TLDR for the folks who just want to get there, they come to the conclusion that like all three of them have parts of their memories like merging to create this like really weird abstract timeline. Like they end up going to like a McDonald's, and she vaguely recognizes the cashier, but like doesn't recognize all of his
he's got
features.
no face. He's got no face.
Yeah, but she recognizes his pimples, which is like, Jesus, you hate this guy.
This poor guy. He's just trying to
poor
live his
McDonald's
life.
Cashier.
He's just.
I think she does say he like hits on me all the time, so like maybe it's fuck him, but like dude, he's this poor bastard. The only thing you can remember about him is his pimple.
Poor guy.
But yeah, so they're like wandering around, but it's like it's a mishmash of
all three of their worlds.
Earth. It has like Elfangor's planet as well,
and the Yerk planet all mushed together.
And they decide that there seems to be some sort of convergence in like the center of whatever this place is.
And they're like, that's got to be
They
where the
feel-
time matrix is. We got to go get
Yeah,
it.
they're like, we go there, we grab that, we're bing bang boom, we're good.
So they are separated
so-
from Alarin, Visser 32. So Loren and
Right.
Elf find each other. They go through the world, go to McDonald's. Then they're like, let's go to the center. And that's probably where Visser 32 is after he also hit the McDonald's. So we're going to get there. We're going to find the time matrix. And then we're going to get the hell out of here because this place is not cool.
Yes. So they go. There's like this giant vortex happening. They can't really like see through it. They stumble into the center.
Yeah, and they age faster as they get closer, which is very convenient.
He even talks about her like nails growing super
And her
long.
hair.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, you don't have
crazy.
to grow the hair and nails.
Yeah.
We don't have to do
we
that.
could have left that part out of it. We could have just had her face age a little bit. But yeah, of course. Yeah, now she's 18, so
Now she's got tits.
so
Yes.
yeah, so maybe he can fuck her now. Yeah.
That's gonna be just this whole last half of it's okay to fuck her now. It's legal.
Yeah, that's literally
It's
all
legal.
this whole last part is. It's just
I
like,
wonder
is
what
it
the
okay
age
to
of
fuck her yet?
consent
Yeah.
for Andalites is. Like, how old do you have to be considered an adult Andalite? Because
Well, I
like
don't
maybe
know. Do
he's
we
like
even know how old Elfangor
no,
is?
we know he's young, but we know that like if he's like 25, but that's still like mentally the equivalent of a 14-year-old, is it still okay that he wants to
Yeah.
go on a date with Loren?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like Tom Hanks in Big. Like if he's
Oh yeah,
like if he's
it's
going
not-
on dates with like these girls, like, is this okay? I don't know. Should I
bad
watch
idea.
this?
Bad
I don't
idea.
know.
Just play the piano with your feet, and we'll all go home.
Yeah, that's all anyone remembers. Yeah. Wait, what else is in this movie? Moving on. But yeah, no, they pop into this place.
Yeah, they get
Go
into
ahead.
the center. Visser 32 is there, and he's like, "What's up? I made it. Let's give me that time matrix, buddy." And they're like, "No, you can't." And I think Elfangor grabs the time matrix, and the Visser's like, "Well, I'm out of here. I'll see you peeps later." And Visser 32 out, and he leaves, and Loren is holding onto the time matrix with Elf, and Elf is like, "You gotta take us somewhere. Take us like somewhere on your planet. We gotta get out of here." And she's like, "Okay." So they go to Earth 3 years later, which it's not really clear because she's now aged to 18. It's not really clear if she's been missing for 3 years or if they only went back to like an hour before she disappeared and got taken by the Skritna. Like,
This is also very hazy for me as well.
Yeah.
and I think it's a fault of just the actual like convoluted narrative itself.
Yeah.
Because it's just there's a lot that you can kind of I mean, like I had said in the last bit that we had recorded for this, it's like there's a ton of people on Reddit that are able to infer a lot of things
They're
that I
smarter
think
than
are
us.
really, really smart in terms of like fan theories filling plot holes. But I'm not in the business of like making something make sense that doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
If we're changing something for an adaptation, that's a different thing. But like, this just doesn't really quite compute to me, and I don't really know. The only reason that she's 18 is literally just because now they can fuck and you don't have to feel weird about it. That's really the only reason. Like if we're really boiling it down, there's no other reason that she's.
Yeah. And they emphasize that several times in this book.
They could have, like, even if they just made her 19 or something,
Yeah.
like, you probably wouldn't have thought about it as much, but it's, like, so specific that it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, we were just trying to cross some sort of
I think she
threshold
should
here.
have started at the age of 18. And then, like, as
Yeah.
the book goes on and they get closer to the vortex, she ages to, like, 25.
There's nothing telling us what Elfangor's age is.
Yeah,
either.
there's-
But also, I mean, like, is he aging up in this vortex, too? Like,
I mean, he said that his hooves were growing. So, like, he had to keep, like, using his tail to cut his hooves. So like,
Yeah.
you could make the case, yeah, he's aging also, but like, he doesn't have any hair. He has fur, but like, I don't think that grows past a certain point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so and he doesn't really talk about aging. He just talks about his hooves growing. So we don't really know like how much he feels like he's aged, or if his physique has changed at all, becoming an adult now. We don't know. There's a lot unanswered. There's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, and there's gonna be more. So.
Yep. So yeah, they go to Earth, and then Elfangor recounts the rest of this time as he's living on Earth and he's just running away from the war, and he doesn't care. Yeah. He decides to stay in human morph, so he's a human forever now.
His name, he changes his name to Elfangor.
Yeah, which I was like, yeah, Elfangor.
Drop the elf.
Mm-hmm. No,
just Fangor.
Just Fangor. Hello,
It's
Mr.
cleaner.
Fangor
Yeah.
at your service. Who knows how he gets like a passport and a birth certificate and a social security card? That doesn't matter.
He doesn't need those
He
things.
doesn't need those.
What are you talking about?
To get a job? No way.
No.
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 So, I mean, I guess he must have some friends in high places, or low places, depending on your opinion. So yeah, he decides to live his life as an adult human, and he first, before he even like stays in human morph, he acquires a bunch of human morphs, and then combines all of them to become the human. Which is interesting, but like, did he get their consent?
That's strange.
Also, how did he do it without people being like, Andalite?
Yeah, hey, that was weird. Why did
Wait.
I black out for a moment?
I just got the image of Loren like luring people into the house and then like chloroforming them in the
Like there's some
mouth.
sort of like vampiric spawn.
Yeah,
thing.
she like knocks them out or she drugs them, and then Elfangor is like, all right, cool, more DNA, thank you. And then drops
that's
them out
pretty
on the front
sinister.
porch. It's fucked up.
But yeah, so Elfangor just like looks like this now.
Yeah, and he marries Loren. They are married. They're very happy together. They have a house. They have a good job. And then Loren's like,
One day.
I have to go to the doctor.
And he's like, okay, you could do that by yourself.
Goodbye.
Have fun, honey.
Goodbye, human
And
wife.
she goes,
And then he gets home from work and he's like, where is my wife? Oh, yes, doctor appointment. And then, boom, Elemist attack right in the room. He's like,
yep.
Elfangor, that ain't you. You're Elfangor.
Yeah, he called.
Change the vowel.
Change
the vowel.
Yeah. So is this, because it doesn't explicitly state, but I'm assuming this is the same Elemist from like the Elemist that we know. Like that's not a race of people; it's a one individual.
No,
person,
it's a
or is it
race.
multiple
It's a
Elemists,
race.
or-
There's a few of them.
It is a race.
There's
So this
few.
is a
It's
different
not
one.
like thousands and thousands of them, but it's like maybe a dozen of
There's
them.
4 or 5.
Yeah, something like it's very. There are dozens of us, dozens.
Yeah.
And yeah, he shows up in the living room. He's like, Elfangor, I'm very disappointed in you. And he's like, what? And the Elemist is like, listen, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I don't like that. So
Yeah.
you
Hey, I don't give a fuck. What are you doing here in my house? Get out.
yeah, and then the Elemist is like, you should do what I want you to do.
Yeah. So he basically makes him like a deal. He's like, well, I will repair the timeline, right? And
He's like,
in exchange,
yeah, he's like, here are all the timelines here's the timeline that is supposed to be. And he shows him like this whole timeline. He shows him like this family tree, and he sees a little blip meet up with 4 other little blips, and then their blips all converge together in this little timeline in the future of what is supposed to happen. And Elfangor is like, interesting. How come there's a little blip coming from me and Loren? Do
I have a son.
I have a son? And Elemist is like, let's not talk about that right now. What we can talk about right now is you need to get back to your regular timeline. Loren's not going to remember you whatsoever. However, somehow we're gonna have her have your baby, even though in this timeline she will not know that you exist.
Yeah. What?
Exact reaction. What?
Literally, what are we talking about?
Elvis is like, that's not important right now. I'll make it happen. We don't meddle in your affairs, but like, I'll make it happen.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So this is where you completely lose me with the whole Elvis thing, because like basically what he's offering is like, we'll set it right, but the things that already were changed before the black hole situation, all that stuff stays the same. And not once does Elfangor be like, why?
Yeah, he's just like crying. But I mean, it is a really strong scene for Elfangor, like,
it's really
being
melancholic
emotional.
and lovely. Yeah,
yes.
Like a character development circumstance. And again, I was talking about this last time too, where it was like, I think that it's really strong to like kind of showcase within the theme that like the man going back to war in this particular story is shown as the tragedy, where it should just be this guy gets to live peacefully an unremarkable life with the love of his life. And I think that that is really rich in terms of characterizing our protagonist through the central theme. I just think that the lengths that they go to get there are just far too convoluted. There's no other word.
Do you think if they would have been less detailed, you would have accepted it easier?
Probably. I think that actually you could have just cut out like most of the last 100 pages and probably just done something to the effect of like, they pick up the time matrix, all the stuff converges all at once, you can't even process the totality of all these timelines, and he realizes through the Ellimist like sort of guiding him within this cerebral sort of vision that the only way is to dial it back to whatever moment right before they were about to go into the black hole, where he turns on the emergency air and is able to get away. And so then all of those things remain. But they needed Tobias to be alive. So I get why. Like, I just think that I don't think... I get what you wanted out of it. I'll come up with my pitch beyond that, which is just to say that if you need Elfangor to be the father of Tobias, like, there's no reason why Loren can't just remember can't just remember Elfangor. So I mean, I think it's perfectly reasonable that Elfangor actually just like continues to try to peel away from war as frequently as possible.
Visit Earth every once in a while. It's like Superman,
Loren?
right? No, not Superman. Who's the one that like the alien came to visit Earth only a few times? Am I thinking of something else? I'm mixing.
This sounds like a Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
That might be it.
Isn't that like Will's fate? Well, spoilers for Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's been out for a long time.
You know what? That's probably what I'm thinking of, and because the Ellimist is all powerful, I'm also thinking.
I'm sure there's a comic like that too, but there's no
reason why he can't just escape to Earth.
That's what I would do. And then I think that he comes one time and then he gets really sucked into this war.
And he's not sure if he can see her again.
And doesn't know that he has a son. And then he comes down, he comes to Earth presumably to like see her and like save her, knowing that the Yeerks have invaded at such a force that it's now maybe past the point where they'll be able to survive, and that's when he gets shot down. Like that's the change. That's the biggest change I would.
Yeah,
I would just.
I like that. I also think that like, if I were to change it, I don't know if I'd even make Tobias Elfangor's son. I don't know how necessary it is. Maybe it really pays off and. Yeah, I think I like the idea of him having a son somewhere, but I don't like that it's one of our main characters, because then it kind of brings into this whole theme of like, there's a reason he's different from everyone else because he's part alien, and it's like, okay, but like I kind of like Tobias being weird just because he's a weird kid and he doesn't have a place to be. He doesn't feel at home in this world, Yeah, and that's a really interesting point. Yeah, it makes Tobias like inadvertently less relatable because you're like, oh, well, you're like this. He's like a chosen one. Yeah. So I think it kind of takes away from Tobias's story a little bit, where it makes he's different because he's biologically different, and I don't like that. I like Tobias just the way that he is, and I want him to be enough the way that he is. You know what I mean? And this kind of puts more responsibility on him. So
I agree with that point. I mean, I guess it remains to be seen because we don't know exactly what happens in all of the rest of these books. You know some of them. I don't know any of the ones past this point. So it's definitely something that right now I agree with. But
yeah, I mean, you could also even like at this point, even if you take away the aspect of Elfangor having a son, that can be something that the Ellimist tells him. He's like, this timeline's going to be erased. Loren, like, right now, she's finding out she's pregnant with your son. That's going to get taken away from you because you don't belong in this life. And to me, that makes it even more heartbreaking for Elfangor because this is the life that he wanted, and he knows deep down inside he doesn't belong here. Right, and so it's coming to terms with that realization and that thought of like, I have to take up the responsibility that I wanted in the first place. I have to help my people because I am kind of a big deal. Not like bragging, not like in a bragging way, but you know what I mean? Like he becomes like a hero warrior. The worst. Kind of I was on a roll and then I just tripped over my own feet and I fell into a sewer. But yeah, I mean, you get the idea of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to just take a quick moment before we jump back into the actual plot of the story just to say that there appears to be an entire force of fire sirens right outside my window.
Gianni, so stop lighting fires in your apartment.
I can't help
Little
it.
pyro.
I'm addicted to arson.
Actually, you know what? I went to high school with a girl, and the first day, freshman year, we had to make like a little paper collage of like stuff about us to introduce ourselves to the class. And one of the girls in the class, she's like, I have fire here because I really like fire. I like lighting fires. I like starting fires. I like fires. And I was like, cool, okay.
Hey, we know way more about you than we should already.
She's like, I just like it.
I
like,
can see your whole future.
Oh my God. Don't know where she is now.
I do.
She's a little pile of ashes.
She's
anyway.
in the psych ward. No, she's probably doing great.
No, she's probably
doing fine. She's an accountant.
I hope so. But she always has a little candle on her desk to remind herself. Anyway, anyway, so back into the story. Yes, Elfangor does choose, okay, I will go back into battle. I will do this timeline, what has to be done. So he gets back in the middle of the battle. He tells his higher up Andalites everything that happened to him with the Ellimist and the Time Matrix and all that stuff. And they're like, you're a hero. Nice. And he's like, cool. I don't really feel like a hero, though. I just feel like there was a lot of mistakes that I made, and I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, he's also like, I'm kind of begrudgingly here in the first place.
Yeah, like I didn't
kind of played with fate, and maybe
yeah, I didn't really ask for
for whatever reason. I didn't get my dream, so now I'm just this guy.
And they're like, yeah, you can be a hero. We need a face to put to the posters, so it's going to be you.
Yeah, which is also a very interesting and unique kind of perspective on, you know, propaganda taking precedence over someone's happiness when it comes to war.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do that for Arbron. To like make him the poster child since he's not there anymore. They can be like, look, he gave his life for the cause.
Yeah, it becomes almost like this sort of religious figure in the sort of messianic self-sacrifice
and then Elfangor is kind of being forced by the government to like use him as like a this was my best friend, we were tight, and now he's dead and I miss him so much. And it kind of feeds more into that propaganda and lies of like,
I'll see you up there when we meet the great one.
Hey,
later, big dog.
You pour one out for Arbron. So, you know, I kind of would have thought that would have been even more interesting if they had kind of leaned more into this propaganda, telling lies. Elfangor is not super comfortable with it. And it gives us even more of a like, oh my God kind of feeling when Axe comes into the story and he's like, yeah, my brother was a hero and I heard everything about him and everything he did was great and right. And we all know as an audience that's not true.
Yeah.
You know, but he doesn't know. And he could find out at some point later on in the story. Yeah. But I think that would be a really interesting way to spin things.
Yeah, so I mean, again, excuse me, I love all the conclusions that we draw from this. I just don't really like how we get to them.
Yeah, yeah.
They then cut through to the end, and it's in the like Elfangor's dying sort of moments, and we recall from the original, the invasion, that Tobias kind of stayed behind for a brief second as him and Elfangor shared some private words, and Elfangor apparently in this moment realized or recognized that this boy Tobias was his son that he had had.
But Tobias doesn't know. He has a feeling like he has like he said in like the first book, he had some kind of extra connection that everybody else noticed, but he doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, and he was like despondent about this guy dying, and like couldn't really kind of put terms to it. So, so it's an interesting payoff to that particular moment. But I still don't think there's much clarity on exactly what Elfangor said to him.
He gave him more of like a lore dump, and I think that was kind of it. Because like in the first book, Tobias is the one that goes to Jake's house first to show him the morph, and then he's like, oh, this is what you do in morph, and this is how you do this, and this is why this is, and kind of mansplains morphing technology to Jake, which he needs it. So put him in his place.
Smack him around.
Smack him around a little bit, teach him some manners. So that's kind of all Elfangor gives him, and then he gets chomped by Big Bad now Visser 3, who finally gets his revenge. R.I.P. in peace. So
rest in peace. In peace. So he is now deceased. But yeah, that's the Andalite Chronicles.
Yeah.
In a nutshell there. So we did get through.
We made it.
The plot.
And I
much to the surprise of the fandom.
Yeah, and I think we kind of talked through the whole thing about like the changes we made, and I don't think we need to go over all of them again. I think we did plenty of that really in the last episode and this one.
Yeah, it's really just the final third stuff.
Right, and the Chapman stuff. Boring.
Just get him out of here. I don't think they need him.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he didn't really serve much of a purpose except transferring the Yeerk into Alloran's head. That's really the only thing he did.
And even that, I mean, you could just have the Yeerk jump ship and just be able to get to Alloran's head.
And nobody knows it. Or even like with Loren, she still has the Yeerk in her head. She could just pick up the Yeerk from the ground, stick it in Alloran's head, pretend like she's being concerned over him. So anyway. But these are like, I think those changes would really help with like the narrative structure and characters development and things like that. So if you have any thoughts and feelings, perhaps some fan fiction, you can send it to us. You can email us.
We do like to read it.
And I did try to tease Gianni in the wrong direction after we recorded, not the last episode, but the episode before, book 12, where I was like, Gianni, there might be some romance between Elfangor and a certain human assistant principal that we've already met and love. And Gianni's like, what? No. And I was like, maybe. And I just wanted to plant the little seed there. But alas.
Could have been something.
It is not this day. One day, perchance. So yeah, if you got some ideas, you can send it to us at our email, morphinbuddies@gmail.com. Gianni, I'll let you spell it this time.
Well, wait, are we going to do the teaser for the next one first?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I totally forgot. I
I mean,
was
we're not
so
just
into this
stopping
one.
at the Andalite Chronicles. I mean,
Oh my god! I
goodness
almost
gracious.
the fans would have rioted. You that
All
would
right,
have been
what
terrible.
this one is
All
called
right.
The Change.
Book
Yes?
13, The Change. Who do we have on the front cover of The Change there?
Holy shit!
What's wrong, Gianni?
Oh my god, man!
What's wrong?
What were they?
Look at that third morph. That's always the best one. Third
Dude.
one or the second one?
Dude, the arms in general, just like from the outset. So it's I would assume it's Tobias, and he's
Yes.
standing like he's almost in a T pose in the very first
Except
image.
bent elbows.
Just becoming the bird. The tagline is also unintentionally fucking hilarious because it just means nothing. It's be afraid. ... That's the whole. ... Be afraid.
Be afraid.
What a tagline. Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
Very scary. This one's called The Change. So it's just Tobias morphing into his hawk morph
Yeah,
on the front.
this is our second Tobias book. Is that right?
Yes, we haven't had a Tobias book in a very long time, which
Yeah.
is very upsetting because
They
I love
threw
him.
me through like a billion Jake books, it feels like.
3 Jake books.
Oh,
You got 3
God.
Jake books.
3 Jake books, and then I couldn't get another Tobias book until now.
So-
Jeez.
Like, what do you think The Change is about, Mr. Gianni?
Well, depends if this is titled correctly or not. You know.
Let me
that's
give you a
all.
hint.
You know.
Be afraid.
That might be the worst hint you can do. Like, what does that even? Be afraid of the change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this title could go either way. This could be like a majorly consequential change of somebody, or it could not.
Who do you think the change would be about?
Oh, obviously Tobias. I mean, I
Okay.
guess. I mean, he is human on this cover. Do we finally get an opportunity to change Tobias back to human? Maybe. I don't know.
Could be, maybe. Look, I don't want to confirm or deny anything because I don't want to prep you too much for the next book.
My expectation would be if the change is really about a change, then my guess is it's like something to the effect of it's like they find like because we know it's a technology that creates animorphs, so they like find the technology.
They find the
and
cube again.
Maybe, yeah, and maybe it's something not necessarily with changing Tobias, but maybe it's like the decision to like give somebody else an animorph power. Maybe I don't know. That could be an option here. I feel like I mean, look, if the change is really going to be called the change and it is about a change, then it should just be about Tobias changing back into a human. But if it's not, then this is a great throwaway
Great
title.
mystery.
Great throwaway title that means absolutely fucking nothing because this is a series that's about people changing into animals. So
Yes, yes.
you kind of it could go either way. This could really.
What if
this
there's
could really
no
just be
change in this book?
I will riot. it'll be one too many
What?
titles that mean fucking nothing.
The Forgotten.
Yeah, no, I'll raise hell. I mean, you know me. You guys
I
have
know
heard
you.
me on the show.
He will rage.
I'll raise. I will rage. But I guess we'll see. We'll find out. This is a hideous cover, but it's.
You don't like the purple pink background?
Yeah, what's going on there? We didn't even talk about how bad the background. I mean, look, like. I just mean, where does this exist? Maybe
Look,
this exists in some sort of like astral plane, and maybe that's why.
The more I'm looking at it, the more I think the background is just a picture that has been reversed upside down halfway
It does
through.
look that. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
line that connects to like Tobias's human forearm that if you look below that, it looks like an exact reverse image of the top.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, what a nightmare. This
Jesus has
third
nothing
image
to do with this, Gianni. There is no
Jesus
Lord
was
here.
not in the room.
Jesus was not in the room for this. He did not take the wheel. He let us go. Yeah, so that's going to be the change. Really excited for
Wow.
finally getting back into Tobias's world, our lovely little sad boy. who has no family.
Let's get some angst.
And no one who loves him, except for 4 humans and an Andalite.
I can't wait.
And did you not realize this technically makes Tobias and Axe brothers?
Brothers.
They're brothers.
No, not brothers.
Yeah.
Cousins, right?
No. Well,
because Axe
they are cousins.
Axe is Elfangor.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They're cousins.
No, wait. No, not even that. I'm dumb
It's
as well.
his nephew. His nephew?
He's his he's his uncle.
What is in the air today? I don't know what kind of crack we're smoking, but
my
like
brain for a second.
we're like melting. I've got my saxophone guy in the background just blowing on that saxophone like nobody's business.
Oh yeah, he's going nuts over there.
The Jewish guys on the roof across are smoking cigarettes and it's wafting
just a
into the
million
apartment.
Sirens
Million
out here.
sirens
My
back
dog's
there.
lapping up water like it's going out of style. I mean, we're flying by the seat of our pants over here. It's going great.
We're losing it.
We did it.
Oh, also, we didn't even mention the time matrix. Elfangor hit it under the construction site. The abandoned construction site where he crashed and died. So that's where the time matrix is.
That's important to just throw in there.
Yeah. So we know where it is. It's just nobody else knows where it is. Cool.
Who knows if that'll ever be relevant ever again. And based on how convoluted it was the first time, I hope it isn't. But
let's hope
we'll
not.
See.
Yes. So, now, to close us out, you can email us at any point at our email address. Gianni?
Oh, yeah. It's morphinbuddies@gmail.com. That's morphinbuddies @gmail.com.
One day you'll get it. One day. You're like Zoolander who can't turn left. You'll get it.
I can't turn left.
Merman! Merman! I've got the black lung.
I think I've got the black lung pop.
The whimey models. Anyway. Such a good movie. I love that movie. We don't talk about the sequel, but the first one's great. Anyway.
Sequel?
What sequel? We don't know about that. Anyway, thank you everyone.
I've never heard of it.
For tuning into this, for sticking with us for these 2 episodes, this one book broken into 2 episodes. We appreciate you for sticking around. Join us in the next episode for The Change. Who knows what it could be? It could be coins.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. You're right. It could be
There you
coins.
go. There you go. It could be Obama. He's coming back in a big way. His campaign slogan was change.
No, they're a little off from the Obama year. This is 96.
Yeah, you're probably right. 96 or 97.
They predict Barack Obama.
Yeah!
If we ever in one of these books get to meet the president of the United States in one of these books, I will be so excited.
Gianni, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember for sure, but I think we do at some point.
Don't lie to me. Don't get me that excited.
No, I think we do at some point.
Don't get me that excited.
I
God,
think we
it'd
do.
be great.
Yeah, please email us if you have any thoughts, opinions, questions, concerns for our well-being. We do not smoke crack. We do not condone that on this podcast.
Well, no.
Not when we're
right.
recording.
All the other times.
Perchance. No. So, again, thank you to everybody who sticks around, listen to us, and interacting with us. And even those lurkers who are maybe a little shy. That's okay. I lurk all the time, and I don't talk to anybody on the internet.
Right.
So, we love you. We'll see you in the next episode of The Change in Morphin Buddies.
Kisses.